On tonight's Thronecast, in the battle for Bran, Hodor makes the ultimate sacrifice. Jorah bears his secrets and his soul, but does his queen feel the same?
I love you.
And siblings unite to fight for their birthright.
My brother and I will take back the North.
Joining us tonight is a very wise owl, Stark Guardian Maester Luwin, a.k.a. Donald Sumter.
Do it quickly.
Your watch begins.
I think it looks worse than it is, to be honest. I'd say that'll probably go away. Give it 5 or 6 years. But lovely to see. Lovely to see. Hello. Welcome to Thronecast, the show which inspired popular fantasy drama spin-off Game of Thrones. Tonight's show had it all. The frosty bald White Walkers, the mega bald Sansa Stark, all about the bald Theon, and for absolutely no reason at all, miscellaneous actors' balls. Joining me tonight to plunge our heads into the show like a high-risk Greyjoy baptism is the wonderful Lauren Laverne. Initial reactions to that incredible episode.
Well, I'm glad that, you know, you made me laugh at the start of the show, because by the end of it, I felt like I was never going to smile again. Emotionally eviscerated. Hodor is my... Hodor. I mean, there are no words except Hodor. I just feel I'm absolutely
I was
desperate.
very shocked. It was a sort of shut the front door moment, or show door, as it would be. But it was gutting, wasn't it?
Oh, no, awful. I mean, yeah, so that I'm kind of still processing. I think it's going to take till at least next week to get over that. But generally speaking, I am so enjoying this series, and I'm kind of loving where we are. I think apart from, you know, obviously a very desperately sad bit there, I think there's so much fun in this series. It's, you know, it's kind of really zesty, and people are coming together and banding together, and it feels like we're really kind of working towards a really big dramatic kind of fight.
I'm going to start watching it now after that. I really... I'm joking. Listen, there's been big chat online this week about, obviously, Brienne and Tormund, or Bremond. Hashtag Bremond. Becca Hanley said this. Brienne and Tormund, the power couple I never knew I wanted until now. Awful lot of fur and an awful lot of armour is going to have to come off if that ever happens. Let us know if you have any thoughts about that particular pairing or your opinions about the show in general. Always hashtagging everything with GOT Atlantics. Now, in many ways, or even GOT Atlantic, Atlantics is a whole new different channel, but Atlantic will do us here. In many ways, my next guest is my ideal man. He was a loving surrogate father to the Starks and really rocks a flannel dressing gown, like no other, I'd say. Please welcome Maester Luwin, a.k.a. the wonderful Donald Sumter!
Maester lover.
It's really... Yeah. So,
yes.
How did you feel about that? I mean, that was incredibly emotional.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
I mean, Hodor, very much the sort of innocent of the show.
Yeah, is he? I was saying, is he the only one who's kind of never gone bad? He's never done the wrong thing, has he, Hodor?
No.
Well, were you moral throughout?
Yeah.
Your character, yeah.
Oh, throughout.
Wasn't I?
Throughout.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
There may be a few porcupines which we might discuss later. I'm saying, right. But you've been scrutinised your maestery. But I agree, it was absolutely gutting. Bran, of course, warged into Hodor and made him hold the door. Yeah. Is he going to blame himself now? Do you think, Bran, for Hodor's death? Yeah.
Of course. How could he not?
The face on him as well as he's...
It's his fault, isn't it? So, you know,
it is fairly and squarely. In fact, the actor who plays Bran, Isaac Hempstead White, certainly blames himself and posted this. Nice one, Bran. Just really taking it fully for the team there. Now, Donald, I don't want to suggest that Maester Luwin wasn't incredibly wise, but it is fair to say he was proven wrong on a couple of key and crucial elements. Let's have a look at this.
Maybe magic once was a mighty force in the world. Not anymore. The dragons are gone. The giants are dead. and the children of the forest forgotten.
Bran's sort of going, oh, shut up. But you were pretty sure there were no more dragons, giants, or children of the forest. Thoughts now?
I was lying.
You were lying, so you weren't the emotional, sort of the sort of innocent core of the show.
Of necessity.
Why?
Because the whole point about magic, at the time it was dark. It was dark and dangerous and very, very scary.
So you didn't want to frighten a child?
No, 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 more than that. You don't want it to grow. The way supernatural feeds on belief energy. And if you believe in the supernatural, it happens.
I'm so hooked into you right now, it's unreal. Is everyone else feeling that? It's like a magnet, isn't it? It's drawing us in.
Yeah.
And that's what's necessary at the time. Don't believe. You believe it will happen.
So you thought if he knows, if he believes it for a second, he'll start investigating it.
And this has got Bran into trouble, hasn't it? Obviously, I mean, he couldn't let it go. That's why he is where he is tonight.
Are we basically now saying that it is Donald's fault that Hodor is dead?
No.
I would never lay that
out of it.
But he had a busy day today, didn't he, Bran? He got himself felt up by a White Walker, which opened up this portal of sorts, letting the White Walkers know. Kind of like when you allow your location to be seen on your phone. Like Google access. So that now they know exactly where it is. I mean, a big mistake, Lauren, wasn't it, this one?
Huge mistake. Can I just say, those spidery zombie guys, like, the scariest thing in the entire show, because they're kind of like the scuttle-like crabs as well as being zombies at the same time. It's like, how can anybody be that creepy? And yes, it's, as you say, it's the most unfortunate geotag in his entire Facebook career. Just do not allow that to happen. So, yeah, no, I mean, terrible, terrible thing. And he's got a lot to reproach himself for.
But I think that's going to last forever now, that they're going to be able to follow Bran wherever he goes?
Well, you know, he's got to step into the big spidery tree guy's shoes, hasn't he, now, at this point?
Yeah.
He's not ready for it. We know he's not ready for it. But he's got to, at least, he's got a reason to kind of harness his powers and to really start to kind of...
It's a good point, you know, because we're so busy mourning Hodor, we mourn the majesty of the Three-Eyed... We mourn Max von Sydow, and that was an extraordinary turn. But we were tonight reminded of the force of the White Walkers and the scuttling Whites. Can anybody, do you think, Donald, take them on and win? Can anyone beat that huge army of the...
It certainly doesn't seem like it, does it?
No.
I mean, that's always the problem with zombie movies, isn't it? Is you can't beat them. You
add to their number, merely.
Yeah. So it does, on the surface, seem absolutely impossible.
Lauren's disagreeing, I think.
Something extraordinary has to happen.
Well, I have a theory, right? What about dragons?
Because they're frightened of fire.
Yes, they don't like
exactly.
fire. Yeah.
And also, just in the kind of Game of Thrones, one potato, two potato game, your two top potatoes, as far as I can tell, are White Walkers and dragons. Now, who would not want to see a tussle between those two? So I feel like...
Fire and
ice.
ice.
Also, it's kind of fire and ice. It feels like there's a magnetism between those two things that's drawing them together.
I like it.
My only criticism of the series so far, not enough dragons. I know that, you know, they're undergoing a bit of
training.
Yeah, a bit of training.
They need to sit, they need to beg, they need to do the paw. They need to wait for 20 minutes before they're rewarded. And then I think they get let out to sort of, I don't know, kind of blowtorched goats, which is what Drogon was doing.
Well, exactly. So, you know, I know that they're kind of in the mix, but I'd really like to see them out and flapping. And I think they need to...
Is that like a technical term?
They've got to be out and flap straight towards those White Walkers and take a few of them down, because they're not nice.
I think that we need for Valerian. We need the Valerian element to get rid of the White Walkers, and we need a lot of fire to get rid of the Whites.
So that's what the spear was made of, right?
The top potatoes.
Yeah.
I like it.
The biggies.
The top
So they'd be
potatoes.
jacket
They walk
potatoes.
through the fire.
No, they'd be jacket potatoes once they've been in the fire. So it's yeah. I mean, yeah. It's basically there's a recipe book waiting to happen out of that theory.
A recipe waiting.
Yes, it is a recipe for disaster.
Oh, right. Oh,
Yeah,
from
for
recipe
disaster,
for disaster,
Donald,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Also today, the children of the forest that we saw, they put up an extremely good defence. But we found out that they created the White Walkers in the first place to protect against the First Men. Here we go. Sort of slightly gory chest-splitting incident, but there, the beginning of all trouble.
So is that the guy? That guy, is that White Walker? Is he your man with the horns who looks a bit like he's in a thrash band? Is that who he is?
Top potato.
Yeah, he's the top potato now.
Now that I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he... Yes, the mother of all potatoes.
Because, you know, I thought they exchanged a kind of significant look. There was eye contact between Leaf, the little forest girl, and him.
There would be, though, if someone was about to spear you to death.
Well, that's... No, not there. Like, when they came together in the
Oh, there was a
tree.
Recognition, a moment of recognition.
I thought so, yeah.
Now, that's a great theory. OK, that's a very interesting theory. Do you think... I mean, they're sort of responsible. Do you think anything now can stop them? I mean, it looks unlikely. I mean, they have created a monster. They helped build the wall, obviously. The magic put up the wall to keep them out. But how long can that survive? I don't know. Against the hordes of the undead. You're looking at me as if I'm one of them. And partially you're right, Donald. Partially you're right. Tonight, Bran, of course, lost his wheels. It's you know, Hodor was no more. Westeros lost one of its most celebrated raconteurs, the Peter Ustinov of the known world. He is a sad and tragic reminder of the man of many words.
Hodor. 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 Hodor!
Burned out long before legend ever did. The candle burned out long before legend ever did.
Much missed. R.I.P. Hodor, and also Summer the Direwolf, for whom I shed many tears. Time for a break. Join us very soon, where we'll be having a behind-the-scenes look at the Game of Thrones prosthetics department. Enticing. Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back to Thronecast. Now, I was as shocked as you to find out that White Walkers, giants and Children of the Forest are not just played by unusual-looking actors. It turns out there's a whole prosthetics department. Now, I know all about prosthetics, because under this heavy makeup, I am a lithe, 6'2", blonde, blue-eyed gymnast called Olga. It takes hours in the chair to turn me into the character of Sue. Here's Jamie East with prosthetic supervisor Barry Gower.
Who knew that all the magic and prosthetics of Westeros were created here, in Dartford? This is Barry Gower, who's in charge of this wonderful place. How long does it take your Night's King fella to get made up?
Night's King, I think we have 2-3 people applying the makeup, and it's made up of 8 to 10 different pieces, and it would be about 5 hours application. So we'd start about 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, that's almost as long as Sue. Take me through a scene such as the one that we've just watched with Bran and the Night's King. How long does that take to shoot, and how many kind of Night's Kings do you whack through in a scene like that?
I'd say the whole sequence is probably shot over a period of about 3 weeks, something like that.
Oh, my God.
And the Night's King we might see for 6 or 7 occasions. Each day we would have brand new, fresh set of pieces, so we'd do like 15, 20 duplicates and a few backups as well. And then at the end of each day, as we take the makeup off, it would be destroyed into the bin.
Do any of the actors try and keep stuff?
On Hardhome, we may have had a few extras who were made up as zombies. You could see they had the coats on and they were almost out the door, and you're like, come on, mate, let's get that off.
We move on to probably one of the most shocking moments. This is weird. This literally looks like you've gone into an old age person's home and scalped a woman.
It's probably the hair from an elderly person, actually, that we've punched in there.
Alive? Am I touching a dead woman's hair or not?
No.
Is this basically what Wayne Rooney had done?
Similar. It's basically each hair is individually punched in.
How rewarding is it to see scenes like that on the screen and seeing the reaction?
It's amazing. We see it as a bit of a bucket list Game of Thrones because it ticks so many boxes.
You get everything. To
alter somebody as beautiful as Carice and turn her into this sort of character is quite a challenge, but rewarding at the same time. This is one who's played by Ian White, who's a creature performer.
These hands are incredible. Those nails look brittle and knackered.
We make several pairs of gloves for Ian. He has sort of what we call hero gloves that might be for some nice close-ups where he might be using a weapon or punching a wall or what have you.
Are these actual gloves, then?
They are gloves, yeah. So...
You know what I'm going to ask, don't you? This is fantastic.
Something about these hands that everybody loves.
That is terrifying. Barry, thank you so much. This is it's even got fingerprints and ambition fully fulfilled. This is great. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Jealous of that. Oh, wouldn't you just want to wear a pair of those?
Oh.
The creepiest gardening gloves of all time. And love that. Did you ever come across any of the prosthetics guys, Donald?
Yes, you can't say it either.
I can't say prosthetics.
That's
no.
good. I can't say prosthetics. Nobody can say prosthetics.
Did you, obviously didn't use them on you, but obviously some of the other guys had heavy prostheses. Did you?
No. I can't think of any.
At no point did you see any appendages?
Certainly not, madam.
Because there was rumours that some of the giants, they've mapped up the entire body.
Really?
Yeah. He's not going to say. He's terrible. He's a terrible man. He whispers this slurry into my ear when the adverts are on and refuses to own it. I disown you, sir. Go on.
There was talk that Hodor, being a giant, should have a giant member. And it was reported that the makeup woman said, "I'm not touching it."
So was it actually made and cast?
So I gather.
And it was just
cast
sort of...
from what, though? Like, cast as in...
Your imagination.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting too practical.
So there was a...
Yes. Yeah.
A Hodor's private area?
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, he was the poor boy. Christian was in the water. Icy cold, right in the middle of the river. And he's supposed to be a giant, so, I mean, what could they do?
Other than fashion...
Give him a... helping hand.
Give him something to smile about, even in freezing temperatures.
Pop down to Sainsbury's, get a baguette. Pop it down there to keep us modern.
Not Barry Gower. Not Barry Gower. He is committed to his art.
There's no way.
And the detail shows. Now, there was so much action in Castle Black tonight. We're going to start with that amazing scene, however, between Sansa and the oil slick on legs. His little finger. First time I've ever seen him disarmed, though.
Yeah.
First time ever on the back foot. Is newly ballsy Sansa the only one with the power to do that, do you think, Nora?
Quite possibly. I mean, I dislike him strongly.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Sansa coming into her own and starting to really take control. You know, she's been the damsel in distress for such a long time, and it's great to see her just tell him a few home truths. I don't know how much good it'll do, because he would sell his own mother, wouldn't he? For,
he really would.
You know, the slightest bit of advantage. So I don't know how long she's kind of going to have the advantage back from him, because he'd do anything. But, yeah, I think she definitely had the best of him in that scene.
You never see Peter Littlefinger rattled. Ever, ever,
No,
ever.
it's the first time.
First time.
The very first
and
time.
making him own what he had done was extraordinary. Sansa said he was either an idiot or her enemy for setting her up with Ramsay. Which do you think he is? Do you think he really knew what he was doing when he married them off?
Yes and no, I think. I mean, I think with him, it's always ambiguous. No.
It's what's best for him, isn't it, ultimately?
He's got the little peacock, hasn't he, on his clasp, and I think that's him. He is interested in how he is perceived to the rest of the world, and he's interested in power, and he's just the ultimate kind of politician. You know, he'll just do whatever he needs to do in that particular moment, in that set of circumstances, to advance his own personal position.
Yeah, but it was interesting that both Whisperers, so Varys and he, were both on the back foot in this episode. Both of their, you know, they trade off knowledge, and actually they were owned in their individual scenes tonight, which was an extraordinary change in dynamics, I thought. But do you think that he knew that Ramsay was a wrong-un, though? Do you think, Donald, do you think he knew that?
Again, yes and no.
So he had a hint, but it didn't really matter to him.
You know, but it wasn't convenient to believe it, perhaps.
He knows it now, though. I mean,
He certainly
interestingly...
knows it now. And he does seem to be sincere at that moment.
So you're saying he's a sociopath? He doesn't even know what's... Oh, hello. You're probably right.
Do they have sociopaths then?
You know that they do. You know that they do. It's interesting because the last season he sort of proclaimed he didn't know much about Ramsay. Ramsay's a new lord. So it's possible. I never take Littlefinger's side, but it's possible he didn't know how much of a brutish soul he was.
Oh, come on, though. Like, how long would you have to spend in his company to know that he's
You're
right? He is the ultimate wrong-un.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't get through 5 minutes. You couldn't be in a lift with him. Not that there are lifts in Game of Thrones, but you'd get out the other side going... wrong-un. You absolutely...
He starts peeling an apple. You just know.
Just the way he does it.
Yeah. Anything he does, it's creepy. You're right. Now, quite a few mentions this series of Jon not being the full Stark. Littlefinger had a parting dig tonight, calling him Sansa's half-brother. Do you think his bastard status is going to affect their cause?
Jon Snow's?
Yeah.
Not at all. I think it will aid it.
Really, well, possibly, because, of course, his parentage, which we don't fully know about yet, may well enhance his status.
Beginning to see that Ned was perhaps not the Ned Stark we've been led to believe. I mean, that hint from Brown's vision.
Yes.
You know, there's more going on.
There's more to come.
Know what of,
there's much more to come.
Yeah,
do you agree? Do you think Jon still can claim hero status in the long run?
Well, yes. I mean, I think he definitely can. And you know, what's interesting about Jon is that he is, obviously, everything he's been through at this point, he's not sure whether he wants this. He's not grasping for power. He doesn't want to he doesn't want the glory. He doesn't want to kind of run, you know, headlong into a big war. And actually, that's a good thing. That's a laudable thing, because he's a decent person. Whereas, you know, if the opposite was true and he was just kind of like, come on, let's have a massive fight. Oh, many will die. So what? We ride at dawn. Then you'd be kind of like, you know, you wouldn't really want him as the leader. I think it makes him more of a leader. People will question him, of course, because that's the whole setup is about legitimacy and who's the heir and who isn't and all that. But I think morally, it will definitely make him a better leader.
He's got brains, looks, and a man bun. For me, he's the complete package. I'm loving the man bun, away from the soft perm. Now, Melisandre has mentioned a couple of times that Jon is the prince who was promised. But Daenerys also was called the one who was promised by another Red priest tonight. They really need to come up with a party line on the promised one thing. What do our audience think, however? Jon or Daenerys? Who's the ultimate saviour of Game of Thrones? It's very split, but I just think it's Jon on balance. I think that's got it. Jon Snow, congratulations. The final overlord. That'd be very... Just the three of us clapping you there. I don't know why we're clapping. I like it.
I think Jon may be the figurehead, but something's happening with all the Starks, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, there's a change going in every one of them.
You're right. The constellations are shifting.
It's really, really changed. And every one of them, something new is happening.
You're right. You're right.
Rob is released now from all the stuff about honour and all that stuff.
A new man is emerging.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of Red priests declare that, as I said, that Daenerys is the saviour. One of them was hired by Tyrion tonight to do some PR. For Dany, do you trust her? I don't trust her.
No.
Not
Have you
for a
seen
second.
this show?
No, I don't trust her. I don't trust her. And in Marine, Tyrion holding a very fragile piece. Doing a good job, do you think, Lauren?
Tyrion, yes, I think he is doing a good job, actually. I'm not sure about the situation with the slavers last week. I think he could have handled that better.
7 years is a long time.
Oh, it's quite, you know, it is a bit too long, isn't it? But he's obviously trying to kind of, like we said earlier, spending some time with the dragons, going down every now and again, giving them a sausage, trying to, you know, get a bit of a vibe going, be the dragon whisperer. I think he's doing a good job.
Doing not a bad job, holding it together. Time, I think, for a couple of audience questions. We've got Anne-Marie. Where are you, Mum? Hello, Anne-Marie.
Hello.
Question for Donald.
Just want to know what the hardest part about filming Game of Thrones was.
That's a question. Getting wet and cold all the time, I think.
you were wearing that nice dressing gown there. The
Yeah, it was
dressing
bloody
gown.
freezing. Excuse me, it was rather chilly. Yeah, it's because, I mean, we were in Belfast in November. And on the first series, in the interiors we were shooting, the drinks were frozen solid. I mean, it was that cold, and that was inside.
Game of Thrones slush puppies, that's a branding sort of opportunity.
You go too far.
Maybe I do.
And the other thing was standing on the first set of Winterfell. It was on a kind of river course. And every time it rained, the water just rose to the surface. And so we were standing there with water, literally, running all over our shoes. And, I mean, it was absurd.
But now I've seen this, you've just done this action.
Oh.
I'm saying you could have a second life, bit of prosthetics.
Yeah.
Donald could be... Yeah, you still got it.
Right.
Now, oh, I'm excited by that prospect. Time now for the bit of the show where I look deep into your eyes, tell you I love you, peel back my blouse and reveal... got an incurable skin disease. But on the plus side, here's a sneaky look at next week's show.
I'm so sorry.
Didn't think I'd ever come back here.
You didn't tell them I'm a wildling.
She disgraced her house, her king.
He's torn our family apart.
We should treat them without mercy, and we will. Show them what we do to our enemies.
You're a conqueror, Daenerys Stormborn.
I take what is mine.
Donald, what excites you about that little taster?
Everything.
All of it. You're so right. How about you, Lauren?
I am agog at the prospect of the imminent death of the High Sparrow. Can't wait.
He's psyched. One of these days, he has to fall off his perch. I'm not sure if it'll be next week. We'll see. Leaves me just enough time to thank our wonderful guests this week, Lauren Laverne and Donald Sumpter, everyone. See you next time, where we'll be joined by human White Walker and mega fan Paul Hollywood. Whatever happened to him? And Ian Beattie, a.k.a. Merrin Trant. I'm off to look at property in Hornwood. Very smart investment. Crossrail goes right through there. Just need to wait till 2021. Good night.